Okay, we got right about 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the Pomodoro timer. We have filled up the bottles. This is actually for a different video, so I'm kind of doing two at once right now. But after this thing hits 0, I'm gonna take a 5-minute mental break. I'll probably just like play with Belle, stretch a little, and do a little meditation, and then practice piano. So now it's hitting 0, and now it's the break time. Break time, which is gonna be breakfast. I totally forgot to hit record for the second Pomodoro. This is the third one. The first one's goal was just to memorize and play a piece that I'll just play right now. After that, my next goal will be a different piece. It takes like 4 minutes to play through. Alright, next piece. Okay. Bell. There is 50 seconds left. I don't see a point in actually starting something when this thing is about to ring, so I'm just gonna take this time and use it as part of the break. During this break, I'm gonna eat just a bit more, drink a bit more water, see if I can rest. And after I'm done, my third goal for piano today, I haven't decided on yet. Okay, rest begins. Okay, I'm pretty sure the camera's about to overheat, so I am not going to record this entire session. I'm just going to record a little bit. But it is time to do the third one, or the fourth goal. Try to finish this, and then I'll move on to the next piece. Tired. Forgot to start the timer. Oh man. Okay, well, I mean, that wasn't part of it. Consider part of the break. Okay, so we're still around here. And now I'm gonna actually start practicing the third piece. Those two lines. Still recording. I think I'll stop it here. Okay, it's long break time. There's these wave sounds. I might turn it off, but I just finished practicing the third piece. But basically, I practiced for around an hour and 20 minutes. Just because I did extra, forgot to turn on the timer. But I'm gonna take this long break. Not exactly sure what I'll do yet, but I will figure that out. It is 10:17, so let's go ahead and move on to the next task, and that will be right there, me walking on that treadmill and then editing a video. I'll keep the camera on just for a few minutes and then I'll turn it off, and then I need to charge it, so let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to be working on my video about how to edit a group podcast. Unfortunately, my Mac sometimes the screen is too small for Premiere, so I got this thing called Duet, and basically it acts as another screen. Okay, that took a while. Okay, before I forget, I'm gonna turn off the camera. Is the expander, which is like the auto gate, but instead of. Okay, so I have done 4 rounds of this. It's 12:20 now. We're on break now, but I paused it because I actually went over probably by 6 minutes, just because I was very, very close to finishing and I didn't want to stop. But every other time I definitely stopped during the short breaks, you know, just to please the Pomodoro gods. But this time I just was so close to finishing, I just had to do it. I just had to finish it up because it was starting to frustrate me, actually. Like when I edit for more than, I think, 2 hours straight, I think I get pretty frustrated. Just because, I mean, the treadmill helps. Let's see. Apparently I have walked 2.2 miles during that time. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I walked 2.2 miles just now. So it's helpful to do that while editing, so it sort of like balances the whole stillness, sitting down. So I think the short breaks really did help with preventing that frustration. It helped with like getting my mind off of like, man, my computer's so slow, man, why can't I do this faster? And then unfortunately with my short break, what I did was answer some emails from potential clients, and then so that wasn't like very helpful in terms of like turning off my brain or actually taking a break. But it did make me answer faster, which I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing, because fast emails tend to be not as well written, but either way, at least it saves me time. Pretty much done with this. I'm just gonna render it, and then I'm gonna take the long break, and then right after that, I'm gonna do my training routine. Pretty light training still until I ramp up and get more used to it, but I'm gonna go ahead and film that as well. So right after I hit render, I'm gonna hit start on the break on this timer. So I don't know what's happening. For some reason, I have this rainbow of doom, and it's just keeps freezing. I already turned it off and restarted it. Premiere, why are you failing me? But it's kind of stuck right now, and I'm still waiting to start the break. So I'm not sure what to do right now. Okay, I think it worked. It's just having a lot of trouble, like it's just super slow. I really need to upgrade my computer, and I can't even play anymore. See, this is what I was afraid of. I think what I'm gonna just do is I'm gonna have to just get it rendered a different day. Well, I'll take this break now, and I'll probably just lay on that couch for a little bit. Okay, it's at 23 and 41 minutes. I accidentally went a little longer than I should have for the rest, but it's 1:02 p.m. and I'm about to start a new 4 rounds. This one will be for exercise, for training. I am going to do various exercises, so there isn't one goal in mind, it's just to complete it. So let's just see how it goes with this Pomodoro technique. I guess after 25 minutes, I will just take a break from the exercising. So it's kind of weird because like when I exercise, I do take breaks in between either way. So I'm not sure how that's gonna work, but I'll try it anyways. So let's go ahead and start this thing. I'm gonna drink some water and then we'll begin. Most of this will probably be, the sound will probably be ripped out in post just because I'm gonna play music and then that's copyright. Okay, I paused this slightly just so I can do those 3 things. I mean those few reps of those things. But now it's break time. I didn't want to start taking a break when I was like at the peak of my energy or at least like warmed up to do harder tasks. So that's definitely one thing to take note on if you're using the Pomodoro on stuff like this, like physical exercise. To be quite honest, Pomodoro probably doesn't work with physical exercise. It's because it really depends on what you're training, first of all. But most of the time, whatever you're training, it's going to require a certain amount of warm-up, a certain amount of like reps and sets, and those in itself already has like a break time in between, so it makes 0 sense to use Pomodoro for like physical training. Like you have to actually have your own set like routine for whatever you're training. But like I said, today's a light day, so I'm not going to do any more than just a few reps to get it back into my body. It's been a while since I've done that. I mean, I did it on Monday, but before this week, it's been a while since I did swipes and flares. So let's just sit a little bit, and then I'll finish off by doing more splits and some handstand stuff, and we'll call it. So after this break, one more Pomodoro, and then we'll be done with physical exercise for now. I'm probably gonna do another routine at night. Okay, that's about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left, and I am pretty tired now. It was just a quick light routine for almost 50 minutes with one break in between. That was about 5 minutes, so almost an hour. But I'm gonna take this extra 2 minutes and then the break, which is 5 minutes, hit the showers, and then I'm gonna hit up a friend. We're gonna do some writing, and I'm gonna probably eat while we do that. Okay, looks like I went 2 minutes too long for the shower, and then I did pause it right when I got out. Apparently I'm not as fast as I think I can be, but that's usually the case for most of the things I do. I end up taking way more time than I expect. Anyways, I'm gonna hit up my friend right now for a good 2 hours, so that does fit within the timeline. And then after that is some family stuff, and then after that is piano again, and then after that is another physical training exercise routine. Man, it feels like it's been forever today, but it's only 2 p.m. This is like, I still got 9 hours to go. This is quite taxing. Okay, time to go eat, and I'll hit up my friend. Okay, so what ended up happening was I talked to my friend for about an hour and 30 minutes. We were talking about writing. Basically, the easiest way to put it is like a fan fiction thing for Avatar: The Last Airbender. We're doing it for like YouTube, but I ended up not really, the timer kept going, so it went on to the Pomodoro, and then it went on to a break, and then yeah, so I did not take the break. I just ate while talking to my friend while writing up some stuff, and that was for about an hour and 30 minutes, and then I just rested for about 30 or so minutes now. It is 4:40. Right here it says 12 out of 12 for goals, and then around 0 out of 4 if the camera can see it. But what we're gonna do now is work on some video stuff. I'm gonna finish up what I was supposed to finish up earlier, and after one, hopefully I can do that in one Pomodoro. Okay, so it is 7 p.m. right now, and we are on a long break. This actually happened 20 something minutes ago, maybe. So I've been on I extended my last Pomodoro quite a lot. In fact, I accidentally missed the break between those 2 last Pomodoros. So I've been like working on this thing for the past hour, basically, without stopping, and you know, that basically means I've angered the Pomodoro gods quite a lot, and I don't, the best I can do is take this long break, have dinner, and then come back to this project. So far that's the plan. Let's see how it goes. It's been a long day, and I've already finished these 2 water bottles. Normally I would still have some left here, so I'm guessing this is a reaction from me exerting quite a lot of mental energy as well as a physical. But yeah, let's start this long break. It is 7:04. 25 minutes to eat dinner. Okay, so this is probably going to be the last set of Pomodoros, I think. But I'm going to spend the first one. I actually ended up taking the break and doing stuff for my cousins instead. Just like setting up OBS for one of my cousins who wants to do gaming, and then talking to another one. So I didn't really take that long break to eat. So I'm going to take it. So I'm going to eat while doing this Pomodoro with just organizing some videos and scheduling some of them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Break is right about done. We enter the next Pomodoro, and that's going to be piano. I'm going to just play some of this piece. Okay. And that goes the break. Time to play once more. I'm going to also just record it on Logic just for fun. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to play at tempo, but that's fine. Well, that was pretty bad. This is my second day really trying to practice this piece. This part has me pretty stumped. Not stumped, but I just need to rep it a lot more. There's 5 minutes left on the Pomodoro. I think I'm going to spend that time on the next piece, which is also rather simple. Okay, it's supposed to be break time. You know what, I'm gonna pause it and finish this because I feel like it. Okay, it's right about 9:30 and we are at the next Pomodoro. This one will probably be our last, actually. So 25 minutes to just doing some light stretching. If I feel up for it, I might add some exercise. Go ahead and start it. But honestly, I feel winded. I'm just exhausted. I normally don't even go this hard. Very productive day, I'd say. I always schedule 2 sessions for piano, but normally one of the sessions either just gets removed because I have to like work on a video or work on something. And whenever I do manage to get the second session in, it's pretty short. This one was right about an hour, so that's pretty good. I think it might have been a little longer than an hour. But that's beside the point. The point is this Pomodoro thing so far. I mean, we're pretty much done. This is the last 25 minutes. Even for my stretching at night, I haven't done that in a while because I'm always occupied with like video editing or something. The Pomodoro seems to force me to move on to the next task on my schedule, regardless of whether or not like I'm completely done with it. Which is fine when it's something like practicing piano or exercising. Of course, if you have a deadline for a project, then you know that's a different story. But in terms of my lifestyle, it fits quite well because I don't necessarily have to have a deadline for my videos and whatnot. And I am trying to move towards videos that are a bit faster to make, like this one. I mean, hopefully this one's fast to make. I don't know, I haven't made it yet, so. But compared to like, you know, animations and stuff, which take forever. For my lifestyle, this Pomodoro technique seems to work pretty well in terms of making sure I practice the skills that I want to practice, actually doing the exercises that I have put down in my schedule, which is crazy to me because it makes me think like, oh, all this time I've been writing down what to do on my schedule, and there are only rare days where I actually get all of it done. And today is one of those days, but it's mostly thanks to the Pomodoro. Otherwise, I am very sure that I would have just not done everything and like tried to finish editing or something, because whenever I'm not on a timer, which is pretty much always, and unless it's with the Pomodoro, which is today, so pretty much always I just work on something and then time just flies by. It's mostly like with video editing, but with the Pomodoro, it forces me to have a timer right there, and then I'm looking at the timer and I'm like, oh, I gotta get this done faster, so it keeps me at a good pace. Otherwise, sometimes I allow myself to like fiddle around with whether or not I think something looks good or doesn't look good, or no, none of that. With the Pomodoro, I have to decide. Even during the breaks, which should be breaks from work, but I guess like I'm using that time to still like email people or get other tasks, smaller tasks done, which I think is okay. As long as like your mind is away from the major task, then it should be fine. As long as it's not taxing on the head. Which arguably, you know, replying to stuff and reading messages and stuff definitely does require some energy, mental energy. So it's arguable. A break should probably be a break. But for me, I didn't really use any of the breaks, the short breaks, to necessarily like relax. It was just more so to just do other tasks. And also for this video, I wrote down what I was thinking the entire time during those breaks for the Pomodoro sections, like what I was thinking about those sections. And most of the time for those sections, there were a lot of things that I noticed that I would do because of the timer that I wouldn't do normally. And that is pretty huge. That is something that was the whole point of this experiment. That was to find out how effective it is. And I can definitely say without a doubt, it's pretty effective in keeping me on track for my schedule. Like if I ever wanted to for sure say, hey, I need to get these things done, I am like sick of missing piano practice and my training sessions, then I'm pretty sure turning on that Pomodoro is like, you're good to go, because you got the timer there, you know what you got to do, you turn it on, you get it done, you do the breaks, once you're done, and you move on. And that's basically the result of today's experiment. One major caveat: I'm exhausted. I'm extremely exhausted. I'm gonna have to like note the side effects, like the repercussions tomorrow, because I'm not there yet. But just speaking from experience, whenever I feel this way, the next day I'm usually not as productive, especially because, you know, I'm mentally drained, I'm tired physically as well. So we're gonna see. Because that is something that should definitely be taken into account, like what happens the next day, because I can't just say this technique is like wonderful, magical, and super effective if the next day I'm lazy as hell, right? Not necessarily lazy, but just too tired to be productive. So there has to be, hopefully, I mean, that also is highly determinate depending on like your diet, what you ate, and other factors like environment. So, but still, also like whether or not you're used to stuff like this, which I'd argue that I am, because I have had many days of long editing and they were definitely mentally draining. So that's what I can say about the Pomodoro technique, having done the Pomodoro technique for the entire day so far. I definitely had moments where I screwed up, where I slipped up. Not screwed up. Slipped up is a little lighter because it's more like I didn't take the short breaks because I was talking to a friend. We were writing stuff, coming up with ideas. So that is something that's harder to control when somebody else is involved, because I can't just tell him like, hold up, I gotta take a 5-minute break because, you know, it's on his time as well. So that is something to take note of as well. I'm definitely gonna be very precise with this video and write down everything that I thought of in a very logical order. The longer videos that I made throughout the day will probably be maybe a behind the scenes video or something. Hopefully you don't find it strange that you're watching me talk to the camera while in splits position. I mean, you know, yoga instructors, I'm pretty sure they do that all the time. Resting longer. I think in the middle of the day I got super tired and took a longer break for sure. It was more like 40 something minutes as a long break. But you know, I don't think the Pomodoro technique's not meant to be used for the entire day. Even this app, it has a goal of 12 of 12, which means that that's 3 Pomodoros, or 3 Pomodoro like sessions. So that means, I don't know why the app would have that as default. I'm guessing that means, you know, that's their suggested, do this many and then, you know, that's it. Because that's essentially 4 goals for each 3 Pomodoros. So if 1 Pomodoro plus a short break is right about 30 minutes, then that means 2 Pomodoros is an hour. So that's 2 hours for a full session. So 6 hours right there. So 6 hours of like high focus on a task, or on like a very varied amount of tasks. 6 hours is a pretty good amount of time to be like highly focused. Well, it's not like the short breaks don't count, but so I guess you should remove 5 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I didn't count the long breaks, but 5 minutes a couple times. Or we can just multiply 25 by 4, which is 100, so 100 minutes per session times 300 minutes. So it's not quite 6 hours, it's 5 hours right there. So 5 hours of high intensity focus, and then breaks in between, you know, every 25 minutes or so. And that is a lot of time right there. That's already like if you add in the longer breaks, which are about 25 minutes, that basically adds up to being 8 hours right there. Pretty close to 8 hours. I think that was the idea of the app, probably. Like a full 8 hours, full work day. That's probably why. I was just thinking out loud. That's my process of trying to deduce why it would be 12 goals. But I hit 20, so that means I added 2 more Pomodoro sessions. And that is essentially an extra 200 minutes of high intensity focus, or an extra 3 hours right there. And that's a lot of time. That's definitely a lot of time in just being focused, doing stuff. There's literally no time for like anything else. But But it was a good day and a good experiment for sure. And I've been talking for nearly 25 minutes. I mean 15 minutes. I've been talking for nearly 15 minutes. But yeah, I think the Pomodoro isn't useful when it comes to physical training. That's one thing that I learned. It definitely encourages actually doing the training, which is good. Like you start the timer and that's the task and then you just do it. But honestly, once you start doing it, you don't really need the timer. You just gotta like go through your routine. But I suppose if there's like still time left, it encourages you to like keep going with something, which is good as well. But it's still doing the short break. It's kind of pointless when you already have a routine. You just got to get through it. So that's one thing that I noticed. For piano, it works quite well actually, I'd say. As long as you're not like trying to finish a piece like what I was doing earlier. Doing that rest for 5 minutes and then like coming back to it, I think it helps sort of move you along, because sometimes I work on one piece for too long and then it gets me like tired, but then like doing it for 25 minutes, resting and then moving on to a different piece, or like working on something else piano related like theory or technique or something. It's pretty useful for piano practice. Of course it's useful for, it's not as useful for, I'd say, like stuff like editing and stuff like organizing, management, like what I do for YouTube quite a lot, because you gotta manage so many files. You gotta manage like your script, your titles, your tags, everything. It's a lot of management of data and information. So stuff like that is super simple, that doesn't require much mental energy or focus. Pomodoro is pretty pointless because you can do those things for a very long time without getting tired. The only thing Pomodoro can be useful for is like indicating you should move on to the next task in those cases. Otherwise, for like actually intense work, like practicing the piano, it's very useful. So it definitely has its usefulness varies across different tasks. The more focus that is required, the more useful the Pomodoro is. The less focus required, the less useful the Pomodoro is. Unless we're talking physical training, because physical training requires focus for sure, but it just is a completely different thing when you have a routine. So that is what I discovered so far. I'm definitely gonna like sort this through, like I said. I'm kind of just talking out loud right now to sort my thoughts for the end of the day. Just so I can review this later. I definitely think it would be useful for studying, for sure. If I knew this technique in college, I would have probably used it. I'm very curious to seeing like if I can try to help anyone I know who's still in college and suggest this technique and see how it works for them, and maybe make a video about it. It's a very useful productivity technique, very useful app, I'd say. Like it's designed completely around the Pomodoro technique. Completely free, unless you want to customize it, then you can go pro, but I don't see why you need to. Okay, 6 minutes left. I am exhausted, extremely exhausted. One thing to note that I'll probably mention later, in my water video. I actually drank the 3 liters of water way earlier than expected. It is a very, very unusual thing. Normally I'm having trouble, but the pacing for today was incredibly good. Like, too good. Like, I sort of want to drink more water than 3 liters, which is very surprising. I'll mention it later. For now, I think that was a pretty good experiment. I am happy with it for sure. I think I'm gonna try to integrate this Pomodoro technique for certain days in the future where I feel I definitely won't do it for the entire day again, unless I want to just it's not worth the energy to manage it. I just did it for this video for fun, but using it for in cases where like I want to keep on schedule, that is a good use for it. So turning it on for like when I start doing video work and stuff like that, I think that'll be the best use for it, and for piano. But to do that for the whole video work stuff, the purpose will be to have it so that I pace myself better for my video work, and then I know once time is done, I gotta move on. So yeah, it was a good discovery for sure. I think this will help me with like actually move towards what I want, which is practice more piano and be more diligent about my physical training. So with that timer going on while I do video work, for sure I'm gonna be like, okay, it's time to move on, and then I move on and do stuff. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna try to integrate this thing. Hopefully I can get this video out pretty soon, and if there's one key takeaway for the Pomodoro technique, it's that it kept me on track for my schedule. I think that's my biggest benefit, my favorite benefit from the Pomodoro technique, that it kept me on track for my schedule. Because I think for me, focus is not an issue. For me, the issue is like going past the time I'm supposed to go past, supposed to like stop at. All right, that's 5 more seconds and I'm finally done. All right. And that's gonna be it for today. Long break, which is sleep time. Let's bring it up actually. Let's get the final result.